Welcome at this To-Increase webinar for industrial equipment manufacturing for NAV 2017. I'm your host for today, Rogier Hussen, Channel Development Manager for our NAV practice. And this is the job that I do for almost 5 years now, where I'm commercially responsible for our NAV channel. Most of the people here on the webinar are familiar with me, but if you're not, these are my contact details. And if you have any questions about our partnerships or our solutions, I am your first point of contact. But the agenda for today is much more focused on the To-Increase solutions. First of all, I would like to introduce those who are not familiar with To-Increase to To-Increase. Then I will zoom into our solution, industrial equipment manufacturing, where I will address some of the key industry challenges that we have noticed in the market. Then I will run through the value proposition on IEM per module that we have on our price list. Then there is room for a Q&A, and then there are some announcements that I have with regards to online help that we have released and upcoming webinars that are on the roll. So if you have questions, feel free to type them into the chat box, and at the end of this webinar I will try to answer them right away. This webinar is focused on partners, so it's not a typical end customer webinar, and at the same time this webinar will not be focused on a demo, but I will help you to understand our solution from a high level and the value proposition that we have given out with this solution in order for you to understand it better. We have done different webinars before where we've done product demos. If you're interested in the recordings, feel free to download them from our share page or contact me if you can't find them. So that's the agenda for today. To-Increase, by the numbers, who is To-Increase? We are an independent software vendor, also known as an ISV. We are doing business for more than 12 years now, and we have over 2,200 customers live on our solutions. Most of these customers are NAV customers, I think 75%, and these customers are in different segments, but I think 250 customers at the moment are using our industrial equipment manufacturing solution, the solution that we focus on today. We have offices in the Netherlands where our headquarters is based off, but we also have an office in India, we have offices in the United States, so we are represented on multiple places in the world, and we are best represented by our partners, I would say. We are a 100% true partner organization, and we have currently in more than 40 countries partners that are representing us, selling our solutions and supporting customers. And obviously we have been very proud winning the ISV of the Year award 3 times and having been part of the inner circle for quite a while now for Microsoft. If you would look at our product portfolio at a glance, you would find that there is a clear manufacturing focus in our portfolio. So we have a solution which we talked about today, industrial equipment manufacturing, but we also have a food manufacturing and distribution solution which is focused on food processors and food distributors, and you can think of meat processors, prepackaged goods, bakeries, dairy plants, that type of customers. So a very broad solution. Also again, we've done webinars before and we will do webinars on these solutions. Then we have what we call complementary products, and these products are focused on either an upsell for our vertical customers, but can also be sold standalone. A very common one is our business integration solutions, which is basically a solution to set up integrations via mappings, and this solution is sold by many of our partners throughout basically every industry as long as the customer is using NAV. Besides that, we also have NAV Anywhere as a enterprise mobility solution, very much focused on scanning. So this solution is a powerful solution if your customer is using something in the WMS space and is looking for a quick ROI if it comes to scanning in the warehouse. Then we have what we call product engineering. Product engineering is a solution that is focused on quality management and engineering change management. I will also touch that today. And then we have a solution which we call item and document lifecycle management, and I will also tell you a little bit more about that, since these are solutions that are either used by many of our IEM customers or could be used by them. So there we go. Just for your information, most of you are familiar with our NAV team, but the faces that are part of the product team and might be of benefit to you sooner or later are showed in this slide, where we have Adri, who is responsible for our industrial equipment manufacturing and quality management solution, so the solution that we are reviewing today. Then we have Martijn. Martijn is responsible for our food solution. Then we have Nico, who is responsible for our business integration solutions and our NAV Anywhere solutions. Joost is responsible for our support. I just introduced myself to you, and Edward is our marketing director and on a daily basis involved in marketing, creating collateral such as fact sheets, white papers, and all kinds of other marketing related stuff that is at your disposal as a partner. So having said that, let us zoom in a little bit deeper into our discrete and specialty manufacturing solution. And there are a lot of ways to define this market. Our solution is called industrial equipment manufacturing, but you can also call it engineer to order, project-based manufacturing. So there is actually not one name to describe this market. On the AX side, we have a solution that is called advanced discrete manufacturing. So there are multiple ways to address this market. But basically they run their business in the same type of way, and that's what we will focus on today. So we have quite a number of customers live at the moment using our solutions, and we have quite some of them here in the Netherlands, but also in other parts of Europe and in North America. One of the deals that we closed last year, which was a very great one for us, is GoGo Wireless. We are very proud to be able to close this deal. This is a very large opportunity where we have a basically full suite to increase module or SKU sold to them because they were looking for a flexible project planning and project management tool for all their project-based installations. And you should think of GoGo Wireless as the company that builds and installs Wi-Fi poles inside airplanes, but also on remote areas. And they do this in a project-based way. So they wanted to have a tight grip on the quality of their materials, their work performed, and they wanted to plan their projects very well, but also make sure that after a project was done, they could transfer it to a fixed asset and make sure that it is serviced as one. So we've helped them by doing workshops and showing the solution and implementing the solution in such a way that they can benefit from basically the full product portfolio that we offer. And if you would like to know more about this opportunity, feel free to reach out to me. Then I would like to discuss with you some of the key industry challenges that we see. And I basically want to do that by using the orange quadrant that you see on the slide now. And this quadrant basically says control costs, improve visibility, win new business, and enable growth. So what we see as being important is that controlling costs in all areas of the business and the supply chain is becoming more and more important for all of our customers, since they are looking for a way to increase their margin and increase their profitability. So this is one of the major challenges and major pains that these type of customers are worrying about, because they are looking for ways to drive up the profits and to eliminate the unnecessary costs. And maybe you would refer to that as lean manufacturing. But also what is important is inventory management as a critical role, and other elements such as labor, transport and logistics, sales and administration expenses, goods return or warranty costs. You can think of all kinds of costs that our customers and your customers need a tighter grip on. And I thought it might be helpful to just write down some of the pain points that I typically, or we typically encounter when we talk to these customers. And so I did. And I will share them with you with regards to controlling costs. One of the things, for instance, what you see is that companies are holding too much inventory, or the inventory that does exist in the wrong place and is not matched to the right demand. Or another thing, another pain that you see is that there is too much inventory that is slow moving, and maybe, for instance, more was ordered for a specific product or set of products than what was actually required. Another pain point is that information on engineering changes is not immediately available to production staff, which leads to either rework or scrap. And there is basically a lack of access to information on previous projects that would speed up design work on the current projects that they are doing. So these are some of the pain points that are related to controlling costs that we want to address with our solution. And I will get back to that later on. Besides that, there is, for instance, the improvement of visibility. Because what you see is the pace is picking up very quickly in the market, and to make fast and informed decisions, managers basically need to access information from across all departments and business areas, and that's not always easy. So typical pains that I have listed down is that customers are unhappy because the company cannot meet the promised delivery dates. Or time and money are wasted on unnecessary work because decisions are based on information that is out of date, incomplete or inaccurate. For example, placing new orders on suppliers when inventory is in fact available but not visible. Information about what inventory is in stock, on order, in transit, or already committed to firm orders. So again, not accurate or not available. Another one that I've listed down is production scheduling is frequently replanned as information becomes available, making it difficult to achieve high levels of productivity or achieve the optimum loading for production resources. And the last one that I have noted down is data that's unavailable, that is available, but it's locked into different systems, and those systems don't talk to each other. And only a few people actually know how to interrogate the system or write a custom report. And because all of this, you basically see that that projects or products, if you will, generally come in to a considerably higher target cost than what was anticipated for. And probably you can think of some other things as well. Then the box win new business. Most machinery manufacturing businesses have some kind of mix where it talks about standard products and more customized products. And different manufacturing models, for instance, make for stock, configure to order, make to order, engineer to order, however you want to call it, they all experience typical pains. And the extent to which they experience these pains differ per manufacturing module. But to give you some kind of idea, let me list down again some of the common pains that we have inquired. That's basically responding to requests for quotations that consumes resources and takes too much time, or staff can't access accurate cost data that they need for proposals, or they get stuck in a response from suppliers to enable a quick response, or new products are late to market, resulting into loss of orders or loss of confidence. Moving products from design into production consumes considerable resources, or legacy systems cannot deliver the information that you need to respond to new service opportunities. These are some of the things that basically you see our customers struggling with, keeping them up at night, because these days it's all about speed. And you see that not every customer or prospect that we talk to is actually ready to meet market demands in a swift way. We even encounter a lot of prospects that are still using homegrown Excel environments, maybe with some financial backbone, but not a complete ERP system that they use to run their business. And then the last box that I would like to take today is the Enable Growth. And the key to enabling growth is basically to automate and to streamline processes, eliminate all waste and double efforts, and basically free up people and financial capital to focus on the new opportunities. And that's not always easy. Again, here I've listed down some pain points, and maybe you want to write down all these pain points. And I'm pretty sure that when you talk to a customer at a certain point, they will encounter these, or you can address them in some kind of way. For instance, poor internal communication between departments, and this introduces obstacles and delays that can result in missed opportunities. Poor access and limited ability to share information, and that slows down the decision-making process and increases basically the likelihood that plans will keep changing. Manual processes take up too much time and lead to delay or human error. Poor visibility into the supply chain, which means that companies must approach their external suppliers to check availability when new opportunities arise. And the company cannot respond quickly to growth opportunities because of poor coordination between internal departments, suppliers, and other partners. And probably you can think of more, but I try to basically structure a little bit some of the key challenges that we see in the industry happening, what keeps our end customers or our mutual end customers, if you will, up at night. And we try to address and keep in mind when we develop our solution how we can address these issues. And to jump into the product portfolio, I always use this slide to basically visualize how the typical process looks like of our customer. And there you see, I start on the top, in the middle, you see basically our customer organization, where they interact actively with the sales force of our customer and the engineering or the design department of our customer. There, especially in the sales phase, there's already a lot of back and forth with the customers of our end customer to come up with a quote which basically will end up in a project where there are a lot of variables if it comes to the design of the product, because oftentimes it's a unique or a one-off product. There is a material involved, there is designing involved, how will this product look like, okay, I need some changes to this and that, or maybe it's a whole street of machines to manufacture sheet metal shafts or something like that. And they go back and forth in the quoting and the sales process until they have ironed out the complete specifications and the complete project to build this solution. So there's a lot of interaction already in the sales phase, where eventually a quote is created. And once this quote is created and the customer signs off, the project starts running. So it's not a typical production process where you just have bulk manufacturing with all the same products and the process looks the same all the time. But it's basically run as a project where you need different resources, different materials, very tight planning, and inventory management on project level. So that goes into sometimes subcontracting, and that takes up a lot of efforts and careful management to make sure that you don't get into situations where you take too long to build a product, or where very expensive resources are doing more than what was agreed upon. So eventually ending up in a product. This product is shipped to the market, and once it's shipped, often it's also installed by our customers for the end customer, and more often we see that it's also serviced. So like I said, with the case with Gogo Wireless, it becomes a fixed asset, and there is service delivered on that object. So that's a visualization of how the process looks like for our end customers and the domain that they are in. And what we try to achieve is basically to offer a solution to every state of the business process or the environment that they are interacting with the end customer. So that's quite an extensive portfolio that we've tried to build up, and I will look into that product portfolio right now. If you look at it from a very high level, you see that there is an orange layer on top, and this is what we call our industrial equipment manufacturing, or your IEM, if you will, solution. And this is one object set that is installed at the customer and also sold in different pieces. So it doesn't mean that you have installed the object set, you have to sell them all, because you still have to activate our product. But basically the orange layer is the typical modules that are core to IEM customers, and from there we consider them to be upsells, or pick and choose, if you will. So what does that mean from a modular point of view? I would like to start with the box Advanced Job Management. Advanced Job Management is basically the core of the IEM product, and it's also the only module that is mandatory. When you sell IEM, you always have to sell Advanced Job Management. All the rest is optional. And there's quite a lot of information and quite a lot of functionality that we have added to Advanced Job Management. I cannot get into all the details, but there's a lot of documentation that we have. For instance, I have a compare document where we have enhanced standard jobs versus what Advanced Job Management does, but we also have online help. We have a price list explanation where, in a nutshell, we basically describe every granule that we have. And if you're interested in this information and you do not have it yet, feel free to reach out to me. But to start with Advanced Job Management, we have job quoting functionality. And this is basically the integration with sales and marketing, meaning that you can make a quotation for a prospect and turn this over into a project once a deal is signed. And as you understand, that saves a lot of time and effort for everyone that's involved in the project, and it also eliminates human error. So what makes it easy for the sales rep here is that they can start to collect requirements at the customer side, and the customer or the sales rep of our customer can write it down on his tablet or whatever device they bring along, and basically, because of the modular way it's set up, run through all the important steps and requirements at a customer side, and in that way build up a quote. And this enables the sales rep to come up with a very accurate quote where he doesn't forget things. And he can also make use, for instance, of a template that has been built by the customer or has been taken from the standard templates that we have, and basically let the sales rep go through all the steps to make sure that they have a complete and an accurate quote, and that it's not just made up by some conversation and some rule of thumb, but an actual quote that is based on a template and the variables that the organization has defined as critical. So that's a very important part, because especially it's not only the quoting, but it's also the transferring the quote once it's signed into a job, having all the budget lines, all the planning lines, and that kind of stuff. So that's a key aspect. Then we have the logistics integration, and that's really also a key differentiator, and we haven't really found it as a functionality in any of the other competitor solutions. And because of this logistics integration, materials can be planned, monitored, and procured for a project, meaning to say that specific materials are directly posted to the project. And why is that important? This gives the planner direct insight into his material position. So he can now directly see if he needs to place an order or that he has in stock what he's in need for this project. So like I said in the previous slide, that's a key pain point for many of the organizations that we work with. I've also listed down the project job inventory, and that's linked to logistics and the logistics integration, I mean. And basically what it means is that you want to have insight in your project specific inventory, because in that way you can set aside inventory for specific projects. Also, if it's not needed immediately, you can already reserve it and book it on a project, and in that way make sure that there will be no loss of time or anything else if it comes to some of the critical paths that you are following in your production project, if I may call it like that. And then last but not least, I would like to stretch the resource planning part, because you basically, when you work in a project-based organization, want to make sure that you do not double book someone for an important project, and you don't want to have several projects with hard deadlines where you need multiple resources, but these turn out to be double booked, because that will automatically mean that at least one of the projects will be delayed. So with the resource planning functionality that we have added to Advanced Job Management, you can basically allocate and plan the human resources, but also equipment per project against the available capacity. So when the capacity is not available, you, for instance, get a red sign, hey, you cannot plan this resource for this project because it's already booked. So that basically helps you to have more insight and plan against available capacity, and that's something that that standard NAV does not provide, at least not to this level of individual project. So we have added that, and that's in a nutshell the core of our solution, Advanced Job Management, and basically everything ties into that. Another one there is resource management, and oftentimes Advanced Job Management and resource management are sold at the very first moment. And resource management basically integrates with generic tasks, and a generic resource task in this case can be seen as a common entity between jobs, manufacturing, service, assembly, etc. So user-defined and predefined tasks that are according to what you are planned for, or according to your job description. So in that way you have a very accurate and detailed visibility in who is planned for what at what time. And another feature make-to-order companies often like and need is the start and stop functionality or shop floor functionality. And by combining Advanced Job Management and resource management, you can establish that. But you can also do a good analysis on actual usage in terms of hours and job tasks in a later stage, if a project, for instance, is due or a project is finished already. So that's quite important. And then we have the visual planning piece, and that's basically a visualization of our resource planning, and that's the most important part with our resource board and our job planner functionality. But also if you want to do production planning and dispatch board planning, we basically have a dispatch board and production planner available via one of our partners. Having said that, there are also 3 other orange boxes that I did not touch yet, and one of them is manufacturing integration. And what is our manufacturing integration? That's basically a integration tied or split up in the resource and the job integration. The resource integration basically means that resource capacity can be used and defined as the capacity of a machine center. But if you look at standard NAV and you see a machine center, it's basically seen as a machine or a location as a whole. So you cannot separate a person from a machine, meaning to say that the visibility is limited. Because in reality you can see that multiple people are working on different machines at the same time or at different times. And what we have done is basically separate the machine from the resource so that you can have the accurate visibility and tracking possibilities that you need for the resource or the machine center part. And the consumption, we have tied that to the job. So you can do the consumption on job-specific production orders, and it's posted directly on a job or a project, if you will, meaning to say that if you want to have the visibility into all costs of your project, you need to have this level of integration. And we see that some customers do want that and others do not. So it kind of depends on the customer that you talk to, but we do have something available for that. And then we have the service integration. And that basically is focused on two areas. One of the areas is plant maintenance. So you can set up maintenance plans for your own equipment. You can, for instance, set up preventative maintenance plans. But you can do that basically done on the type of machine that you have. But also some companies, they choose to have basically what they call corrective maintenance. So only when a machine breaks down, they do the maintenance. And with this type of functionality, you can basically set up maintenance in the way that suits the customers or the business process of the customer. So that's one of the things that we offer. Also, sometimes it's used by partners to have a planned service outside for end customers. For instance, if they have some machines in the field and they want a planned service and do that tied to a project, they sometimes also use this type of functionality. And then again, there's the job integration, where the consumption on job-specific service orders can be posted directly to a job. And if you want this, that's definitely possible. And the job deliverable can be transferred into the installed base as a service item, meaning to say that you now have the visibility into the specs of a machine that's delivered to an end customer. So when service is being given to that machine, all details are at hand. So that's one of the things on how you can use these two modules. And then the last one that I did not touch yet is engineering change management. And I did so or did not so because that's kind of one that is hovering over all these different modules or business processes. And we also sell it standalone in combination with our quality management solution. And this basically consists out of two things, because what we've noticed is that a lot of our end customers have their own engineering department and they have their own PLM system. So they work in a separate system to do their product design. And that's not ERP. Typical PLM systems that you might encounter when you talk to these customers are SolidWorks, PTC Windchill, Siemens Teamcenter. These types of systems are outside NAV, but they do require some kind of integration. And we've done that basically in two ways. By setting up engineering change requests, and basically anybody can use this type of functionality to bring a request to an engineer saying, hey, I've been working on this machine now for 10 times and 10 times I've noticed that a certain screw or a certain part is breaking down. Can you please look at it? Or whatever type of request you can think of, during production, during service, or whenever you encounter a bug or something that is not well, you can basically file a change request. This change request comes into a queue for the product engineer that can see exactly which engineering change requests are filed to him, and he can pick them up and work on that and categorize them in the way that best suits him. And again, he does that outside NAV. But once he has made changes, this might have implications on prices of the product or article numbers, etc. You want to bring that back inside NAV in a controlled way. And the way we do that is by using change orders. And these change orders can be used to basically import anything from the PLM system when it comes to changes, and you can tie a workflow behind that where you have an approval process in place where you say, okay, once a change order comes in and there has been changes on an article, an item card, whatever, this or that person needs to look at it, approve it, and release it before it's basically released to everyone inside the company. So in that way you get more grip on the engineering department that kind of works as an island outside NAV in their own system, but at the same time needs to be integrated to ERP. So we have built that functionality, and we are actually currently in the process of coming up with some out-of-the-box integrations for SolidWorks Siemens Teamcenter and probably PTC Windchill, so that you can even quicker implement this and have a base product in place where you don't have to set up any mappings. Those mappings are built by our integration team with the Connectivity Studio tool that I've addressed before. So that's in a nutshell the value proposition for industrial equipment manufacturing for NAV 2017. And like I said, we have quite some complementary products. I would like to touch on them very short. One of them is quality management. Officially, we have released this solution on NAV 2015. We have available 2015 CU7 by heart as the first solution for quality management. And why did we release quality management? That is because we noticed that it's a big gap, especially for our customers in the IEM segment, but also outside the IEM segment, where you have a company that, for instance, builds products, but still does their quality management outside NAV. For instance, in an Excel or an Access database where they have all kinds of ways to measure and to analyze their quality management processes. And we thought we could do that in a better way by offering our end customers a quality management framework inside NAV. And again, this is a solution which can be applied to many different segments. And the reason for that is because we've decided to build it as a framework type of solution, meaning to say that we have given you all the components that you need to build out a quality management structure and strategy within your company, but you still have to define some of the things yourself, because every company seems to be rather unique in the way they want to do their checks. We also have a recorded webinar on this if you're interested in that, but in a nutshell, how the process looks like is we have functionality that allows you to create check sheets, and check sheets are basically based on quality questions and quality answers. So basically any product, for instance a product that comes into your warehouse and you want to do a check, you have certain quality questions that you want to ask yourself with regards to the quality of the product. For instance, does it have a certain thickness, can it or can it not bend, what is the type of color, and this can all be based on agreements that you have with your vendor or other kinds of requirements that you have. And these quality questions need to be answered. So you also have the quality answers. And these answers can be used to for various things, and you can have standard deviations, but you can also, for instance, say, okay, if the answer to this quality question it needs to be read is no, automatically you need to block a lot, or an incident needs to be created and the quality manager needs to look at it. So we have created all kinds of building blocks to, from that check sheet, define next steps that you need to take if quality is not right. But you can also think of doing things like taking sample sizes, do measurement registration so that you can, on a later stage, do analysis on the information or the quality checks that you did. So we have done as much as we can possible to create out-of-the-box processes to kickstart any quality management strategy or project inside NAV with your customer. So a highly flexible solution, but at the same time very beneficial, because almost every customer deals with quality management in one way or the other. Another solution that is often sold to the same customers is NAV Anywhere. NAV Anywhere is our scanning solution for the warehouse. We have basically a mobile solution that runs on web services, where we say, okay, if you have a browser-based device, whether it is a tablet, it's a rugged device, a Motorola scanner, or whatever type of device you use, as long as they have an HTML browser, they can basically install and look at our NAV Anywhere solution. But most of the time it's sold with a scanning device where customers want to scan inside the warehouse, where we have taken all the WMS processes in standard NAV and made them available in a mobile way, so that in a very dummy-proof and flow-driven way you can scan your way through the warehouse. So even if you are not familiar with ERP as a warehouse worker, you are basically directed to pick orders or to transfer orders or whatever kind of functionality is needed. And most of it is out of the box. Some of the things are built by our partners. Also, if it comes to customizations in the system that you've built for your customer, you might want to deviate from the standard processes that we deliver out of the box. Again, here we have recorded webinars. And the last one I would like to point out for today is item and document lifecycle management. And this is basically a state machine workflow solution that we use under the hood, for instance, at our resource management module, where we have the expense sheets functionality, which allows you to basically post your expenses on your project, but then have a approval workflow behind that, where your manager needs to approve your expenses before it's released and posted to the job. Those are some of the small workflows, for instance, that we have built under the hood, but this is also a framework that is available for you as a partner and an end customer, where you can basically say, okay, every user at a certain point needs to change statuses, and the standard NAV statuses are not enough, but also key users and application managers, they look for ways to create and maintain life cycles if it comes to documents and records. And you can, based on roles, define who is allowed to change certain records, but also define what the next action would be when the record state is changed, and in what way, in that way you can basically direct a user or restrict a user when he goes through certain processes inside NAV. So a very useful solution that is basically already available by customers. They only have to register and buy the product to start using it, which is also a powerful tool for all of our partners. Besides that, we have the bottom layer, where we have the business integration solutions. I will not zoom into those at the moment. We also have separate webinars for that. Transport order management, which is a very small solution focused on shipments for the very small customers. And I would like to stretch a partnership that we have with Econ, a product configurator ISV. We work with them closely on some of the deals, especially the larger deals, where we find that the end customer says, hey, I would like to have on my website a product configurator which enables my customers to configure the solution that they need. And that's basically the starting point. And from there, basically an order can be created and transferred into a job where our solution IAM picks up the configured solution and runs the project. So these are also some possibilities that I wanted to stretch. Looking at the time, we still have 10 minutes left. A question that I would like to address that I oftentimes get, because we sell our solution based on the full users that are in NAV, is, hey guys, not everybody in our organization is using the solution. And that might be true for some, but for majority of our end customers, it's basically an end-to-end solution that offers value to the engineers, the sales reps, the planner, operations, administration like the financial controller and the project managers, but also people that are on only have to register hours. They can do that and post those hours on jobs, and in that way touch our solution. So we wanted to stretch here that basically every customer in one way or the other and its users is using our solution to the full breadth inside and throughout NAV. And one interesting slide that is also at your disposal that we often use when we demo our solution is saying, hey guys, everybody benefits from this solution, but how do they do that? And I run through it very quickly. Just to give you a feel for it, and if you want to have these slides, if you don't have them yet, feel free to reach out to me. We basically say already in the sales stage, you see that the sales rep and the engineers are using the sales quote and the job quoting functionality and the templates that we've made available. And from that, a job is made. And once that job is made, you will see that not only the engineers during the change process are benefiting from it, but also planning is benefiting from it, because automatically budget lines and planning lines are created. Operations is benefiting from it because we have some processes automated where you register time, where you have consumption on orders, etc. And then obviously the project manager, who could also hover above all of this, can monitor closely what is happening together with the administrative force to make sure that administration is done well, forecasting will be done well, and risk is mitigated, and even during the jobs you can do estimate of completion to make sure that that the project is not getting out of scope. So this is one of the slides that by every click that we take, we open up NAV and we show the product, and in that way guide our end customers or prospects, if you will, through the process that we offer as 2Increase with industrial equipment manufacturing. And we encourage you to do the same thing. So that is basically in a nutshell the high-level process, the key challenges that our customers are facing, and the value proposition per module that we offer. And we've also captured that in a way that we say, okay, who benefits most from which module? You can read it for yourself. If you want the slide deck, it's also available so that you know exactly that if you're talking to a project manager, you want to stretch advanced job management, resource management and visual planning more maybe than some of the others. If you are talking to an engineer, they might see econ and engineering change management as more appealing. So based on the role that you have in front of you, you can make different emphasis on the various parts of our solution. And that is basically what I wanted to share with you today. I also have quality management here, but I already touched that. So at this point I would like to open up the chat box to ask questions if there are any. And as you type your questions into the chat field, I would like to stress to you that we have created online documentation that you might not be aware of yet. And if you go to our website www.to-increase.com/NAVhelp, you will find this page. And at this page you will see that there are different versions. And especially if you go to the NAV 2017 version, you would find that we have very extensive documentation. And this is at your disposal, and you can share it with end customers. You have to go to the link where it says getting started with To Increase once you double click on NAV 2017. And there you find all of our solutions and a description on how to and the basic understanding of our solutions to guide you through the basic principles and processes that we have in place for NAV Anywhere. So I'm quite proud of the hours and the work spent to create this by our product team, and I hope that you can benefit from it also. If you find it insufficient or you have some suggestions, there's also a feedback button that you can use, and we highly appreciate it if you give your feedback on how well the information is that we've provided, what you are missing, and how we can collaborate on that. So feel free to take a look at this and to give also your feedback on if it's helpful and if not, or if yes, why.